Alright, let's look at these last three in 11.1, a little bit more factoring by grouping to get some practice with this. We'll make our two groups here, and then we'll factor out the GCF from each group. In this first one, I can factor out a 3r squared, and I'm left with 10r plus 7. In the second group, I can factor out a negative. It's a good idea if you just factor out a negative to put a placeholder of -1. And then I have 10r plus 7. We can see our common binomial of 10r plus 7. And then we can write our remaining terms in the second binomial. And you can see where that -1 helps us fill in the second binomial. Okay. Looking at this next one and thinking a little bit ahead, if I make my two binomials, I'm not going to have any, look at this first one here. I'd have a 32 and a 7, and then none of the letters would match, so nothing would factor out. So what I can do is I can rearrange this, and I'm going to group the y's together. So I'm going to put this term, the 4uy here, and then I'll put the 7ru and the 56ar. Okay, so now I'm perfectly okay to do that because we know the commutative property of addition. We can rearrange addition if we would like. So in this binomial, I can pull out a 4y, and I left with 8a plus u. In this binomial, I can pull out a 7r, and I'm left with u plus 8a. And again, reviewing our commutative property of addition, we know that these two binomials are equal to each other. So I can pull that binomial out front. I'm going to write 8a plus u and 4y plus 7r. Okay. So that one, E, showed us a little bit with rearranging. Okay. And F also here is going to show us a little bit with rearranging, because if we look ahead, we see that no variables are going to factor out here. So I'm going to rearrange this to get my A's together. I got 3AC minus 21AD. Then I have minus 7BD plus BC. Okay. Next, I'll make my two binomials. Hopefully you're getting in the habit of doing these. Next, I will factor out a 3a from the first binomial, and I'm left with c minus 7d. And you can check that. It works. And then here, I'm going to factor out a negative, and the only thing in common is a b here. Okay, so I factor out a negative b. All right, and then I have, let's see, I have a negative, or I have 7d minus c. Now, these things right here, these things are not equal to each other. Okay, let's take a look at this. If I would flip this around, I would have negative c plus 7d. Okay, this term, because the negative sign stays with that c. So thinking this through, this one's a little complicated because of the way I rearranged, and on the note packet it's a little bit different. We think about, well, what would have happened if I wouldn't have factored out a negative b? It would have been plus b here, right? And these signs wouldn't have changed. Okay, so these signs would have been the opposites of what they are, and it would have been plus c and minus 7d. And now we can see that we have plus C, minus 7D, minus 7D. So by rearranging, I kind of made by the luck of the draw, it didn't come out the easiest, and I had to think through some kind of complicated signs. Um, but if you're that close, I would, I would double check everything and rearrange again and play with it a little bit, because I just recopied this down. You want to make things work out to be uh, have a common binomial. Okay, so we can see the common binomial now. It's C minus 7D, and the leftovers are 3A plus B. Okay, every once in a while you'll get one of these, and there's a good chance that you will, when you do all the types of rearranging. No matter what happens, you won't get a common binomial. And if that's the case, then you choose factoring by not factorable by grouping, or not factorable by the grouping method. Okay. Well, the last one was kind of tough. Hopefully you can work through these. Just take some practice. That wraps up 11.1. Thanks.